Hello everyone, you're tuned in to the Channel 5 News. My name is Andrea Louis. 4th November every year is recognized in Dominica as National Day of Community Service. Normally, it's the day where the community turns out in their numbers to help beautify the area, be it through beautification projects, roadworks or construction projects. This year, however, the focus is on cleaning up the community. Due to Hurricane Maria, there is still a lot of cleanup to be done, as is evidenced by the piles of debris and garbage on the sides of the roads and in the communities. Channel 5 News has two teams going out to the communities and speaking to the people to find out what is going on in their areas. Stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. My leg of the journey takes me to the southwest coastal villages of Scottshead and Soufriere. I have with me the Deputy Chairperson of the Soufriere Scottshead Gallio Village Council, Mr. Conrad Caesar. Mr. Caesar, welcome to the Channel 5 News.
Good morning.
Good morning. And tell us, what sort of damage did the area sustain from Hurricane Maria?
Well, in Scottshead, Soufriere, as a fishing community, Scottshead might have over 160-something boats. And our young people that are going to school doesn't want to look for a job, they more want to do the fishing industry. And now Maria leave all our fishermen like behind because Scottshead don't have boats. Scottshead don't have no boats. And as a shelter manager, I am, and a disaster preparedness committee member as passing on information. From the 17th, I make sure I see every single fisherman in my community of Scottshead had pulled out their boat from Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. And I advised them not to leave the shore to go underwater. And they listened to me, they listened to the message that I had left to them, and they put their boat ashore. And Maria take all the boats ready, put it ashore, and do what she wants to do with those boats. Scottshead maybe have maybe 2 or 3 boats remaining. So fishermen, Scottshead is in a pain of their living, their livelihood, to take care of their family. Now you would see on the water have boats make surrounding fish, and we do not have our own equipment to surround fish in Scottshead. Those people came from all the way from Layu to come to Scottshead to try to see how they can make a life for themselves and to help us, the people in the community. And Aishim Bellot had went to Point Michon to look for a net to see what he can do in Scottshead. And Aishim, I don't know if Maria give Aishim Bellot a strength. Aishim just have a kind of a strength to do everything. Carry water, carry gas, carry everything. And if you give him your special hire, he do it for you. So Maria just left this community in a mess, and like everybody's in pain.
I can well understand that. Apart from Soufriere, Scottshead being a fishing community, we know that it's a very popular tourist attraction. We know there's a freediving school here and also the Soufriere Scottshead Marine Reserve. Can you update us on what's happened to the freediving school and the SSMR?
Well, the freediving school they had next to the Caribantic, as you could see, it's disappeared. You could say Caribantic is not there anymore. And the SSMR, I think one of their anchor is right in my doorstep. And you know, it's like a tourism site. Scottshead is a tourism place. And what they can see, when they come there now, like all the taxi drivers are in pain in Dominica because they can't get the tourists. And they was expecting to be involved in a tourism cruise ship coming in, Creole Festival, and everybody have the same pain, the same stress. But I always ask God to strengthen us, and I want to tell them today, just keep the faith. Faith is the key of life. Just keep your faith.
Strong words. Now, we know 4th November is recognized as National Day of Community Service. We know this year the focus is on cleaning up the communities. Is there anything special or particular planned for the Soufriere Scottshead Gallio area in that regard?
In Scottshead, Soufriere and Gallio had planned with the council to do work in the community. We do all our work that we could do to central government to have our plans for community of service. That's today. But you know, as today, Maria just capsized the community of service. Everybody I would speak to tell me, you know, I have a lot of things to do home. I have a lot of stuff to take out by my place. So community of service on a whole, people just have to decide what they want to do. If they want to clean the area, or if they want to see things by the roadside, let's clear it off. Community of service, I mean, Scott said 2017 is not like it would be other years. So I do what I have to do. I put some boiled things on the beach side to put fire into them for this morning. But I don't think I will get the support that I will need from the people as other years
Okay.
for this inspection.
So what support would you want from them in what area exactly and what project exactly?
Well, as you can see, they all on the roadside have a lot of debris and a lot of stones, a lot of different things. So if we could come together and start clearing out stones, take out some garden sitting areas back on the side. I mean, the plan we had, we cannot work it out, so we can find something else to do. You know, so that's what I was looking forward for, but it don't look like it will work.
Now, what will be your message to your community, the communities, Soufriere, Scottsett, Gallio, for community of service and even moving forward from Hurricane Maria?
The message I want to leave for them is to tell them, as I accustomed saying, let us make up our mind and let us see what we have to do. And we have a lot of things we've seen that we can do in our community. Let us just come out together and do it. Let us keep Scottsett, Soufriere, and Gallio as we are accustomed of doing to keep it clean and green, even though Maria make it brown, but now if you watch Scottsett, it's getting back green because Scottsett is a lovely place, but Maria just put Scottsett like it's in around, but Scottsett would be back Scottsett and even better.
Okay. Mr. Caesar, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
As I mentioned, we are in the fishing community of Scottsett, and I have with me one of the many fishermen here, Mr. Jerry Andrew. Good morning and welcome to the Channel 5 News.
Okay. Morning.
Okay, what sort of damage did you sustain as a fisherman from the effects of Hurricane Maria?
Well, there's a lot of damage happened. Like mostly all the fishermen lose their equipment, the boats. If you can see for yourself, a few boats up there, and mostly all of them damaged. So right now, personally now, what really happening now, those fishermen, they really want to walk to the sea, but they have no equipment. And anytime they wake up in the morning, they'll stand and watch the sea. And sometimes the mind might be focused sometimes when the mind they really want to work. But as you know, Maria passed and then people wasn't expected to all that be happening here. But it's God. Sure. Things have to go on.
Okay, now you're one of the lucky ones in that your boat wasn't destroyed because of the hurricane. So what have you been doing that you have a functioning boat?
Well, my boat don't destroy. But I don't have no equipment.
Okay.
All my equipment is done. Okay. No hooks, nothing. It's just the boat alone. And remember, you cannot fish with a boat alone. Sure. You have to have equipment to catch a fish. Also, my ice-in fish, I can't take fish.
I understand.
Yeah.
How frustrating is it though for the fishing community here? I mean, the sea is right there with fish and there's nothing you can do. How frustrating is it?
Well, people have to have patience, because everything cannot be done one time. And I'm sure the summer fishermen need some help too. And you know, that can't come right now. Everything has to be step by step. Yeah. I mean, I know the government will help, man. They will help. But you just have to take patience.
That's true. Okay, now let me ask you finally. Today is National Day of Community Service. We know the focus is on cleaning up the community. Yeah. Do you have anything in mind to do for today or any projects you want to undertake?
Well, for cleaning, it have a lot of work. Yeah. It have a lot of work. Because as I told Maria passes, sometimes we don't have hurricane, we still have work. But now it have more work.
Sure.
Well, all that is to clean up the place, keep the place clean. We have to do what you have to do. Sure. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, you're welcome.
We've encountered one fisherman who has been at it for several decades, Mr. Donald Dominic. Welcome to the Channel 5 News.
Yeah.
Tell us, what happened to your boat as a result of Hurricane Maria?
Yeah, well, the day my boat has been destroyed, everything, the boat destroyed entirely, and the engine also. Okay. About we are lack of fishing now because we haven't got boat, we haven't got engine now, and we are looking to see whether we can get little assistance from, I don't know, from who, the government or the it is, and we are nothing, we are empty.
So you mentioned your boat is destroyed. Normally you'd be going out on the sea like every day to do fishing. So what do you do with your days now?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing, I just there.
You just come by the bayside.
Yes, yes. And walking on the road without nothing.
Okay.
We haven't got nothing now. We are empty now. We are very empty. Because that was our living. That was our living, the boat and ginger were living. And we haven't got it now. So we are naked now. We are naked, we are naked, we are naked. We haven't got nothing. We haven't got nothing.
What have the other fishermen been saying about this whole situation?
The same thing.
Okay.
They will say the same thing, same like me.
Okay.
Because as long as you have something, you have something to live, and you lose it, you are empty. You are empty unless somebody has helped you for the time. For the being. Yeah.
Right. Okay, now the thing is, today is National Day of Community Service. We know they're asking us to focus on cleaning up the communities. Do you have anything in mind to do for Community Day of Service in terms of cleaning up?
Yeah, well, I will do something at my home first, and later on I will come and do something for them. I will help. I always helping, you know. I always have intention to help whenever Community of Service is concerned.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Dominic.
Thank you very much.
And while in the community of Scott's Head, I met someone from the community of Soufriere who has something slightly different in mind for Community Day of Service. Andre Charles, good morning. Welcome to Channel 5 News.
Good morning, Andrea, and to the viewers and the listeners of Channel 5 News.
Okay, now we know that this year for National Day of Community Service, we were asked to focus on cleaning up because of what Maria did to us. There's so much debris and garbage left to clean up, so we were asked to focus on cleaning up. But you have something different in mind which has to deal with fishing or with fishermen. So tell us, what exactly is your plan for Community Day of Service?
Okay, apparently it is said your word is your bond. And last evening I was in a little hangout spot and I met Bambino, is his name, and I like that name because it reminds me of, hey, in the womb. And he said he needed to transport some fish to Point Michel. And so I committed myself to doing so. However, as it appears to you, I've already been dressed in my hard hat because I was supposed to be in my own activities, clearing debris, burning stuff, you know. In other words, it is 39-year-old or more activity on the 4th of November that I never refuse to make my contribution towards the beautification and enhancement of our country. However, it's taken a form, and it's not for too long, by the way. It's just to drop him over to Point Michel, and then I'll be back home continuing my activity, developing my community of Soufriere. What is unfortunate, as I can see, and Scott said, is that I don't see an active participation in at least clearing or piling up that which cannot be handled by heavy equipment. Take, for example, these at least, they are and can be recycled or should be transported. But let us suffice it to say, if the heavy equipments are not functioning, I believe the villagers could at least pile things in an orderly form to make movement of the debris much faster so that we can bounce back in our tourism, because this is a place where we were supposed to be having Heritage Day this year, and it did not come to fruition, and now we are into Community Day of Service. I wish to see a bit more participation in that effort.
So will you try to mobilize a group of people to actually get some cleanup underway?
Just for today? No, there are maybe 1 or 2 projects, but on the eastern part of the village.
Okay.
Yes, something is going on up there. But it is for this section as to how I'm going to mobilize them. Although, mind you, I'm not a community leader here.
Okay.
So my influence can only go thus far. Right. But it would first start as a suggestion and see how it picks up.
Okay, great. Andre Charles, thank you so much for your time.
The pleasure was mine.
And we have made it to the community of Soufriere. I have met up with one of the councillors on the Soufriere Scots Head Gallia Village Council who lives in Soufriere, Miss Alison Serafin. Hello and welcome to the Channel 5 News.
Thank you for coming to see us today, and we appreciate having you.
Thank you very much. Now, we know that today is National Day of Community Service, yet a lot of emphasis is being placed on cleaning up because, you know, the damage Maria did to the country. Tell us, what damage happened in Soufriere in particular because of Maria?
We have a tremendous amount of damage. As you can see, people are still trying to take off galvanized from around their houses because all the roofs 90%, if not more, of roofs in Soufriere were damaged through the hurricane. The council had plans for Community Day of Service before this happened, but with the happening of this hurricane, there's still cleaning going around, cleaning of yards, cleaning of around school, cleaning of streets, and everybody is doing their part in a different way than if we were doing it with what was originally planned. But it is still cleaning going on, it is still Community Day of Service in that way.
Now, you mentioned that people are still cleaning up their own residences and their yards. Do you see it as a possibility that later on they might come out and do a community cleanup project?
Well, all that's going on too, you know, because the houses are so close to the street. And don't forget, we had galvanized and posts and wire and everything all along the streets. And if you walk down, you will see that quite a bit of it's already gone. You know, that people, it is with the efforts of each one another that, you know, we are able to be standing here where it's clean and not have to be among garbage or wires and fallen trees.
What message do you want to leave with the people of your community as they engage in activities for National Day of Community Service?
I know it's difficult for a lot of people, but if we work together, it is said that many hands make labor light. And therefore, with doing that, we will be able to have a community that will be thriving again. And I'm looking forward to that because I know it is a possibility and it will happen. With Soufriere, we stand united, and therefore those things will happen.
Right, Ms. Serapin, thank you so much for your time.
You are most welcome and good to have had you.
I have met with another councillor on the Soufriere Scottshead Gallia Village Council, Mr. Weefy Jules. Hello and welcome to the Channel 5 News.
Good day, welcome to Soufriere.
Thank you very much. Now, we know that today is National Day of Community Service. However, we're going to be focusing a lot on cleanup because of what Maria did to the country. What has the cleanup effort in Soufriere been like so far?
So far, like I said, it's been slow but progressing, coming on pretty good compared to what we saw after Maria. Now, it's easier to drive around Soufriere now. Thanks to the hard-working concerned members of the public, those who know themselves. And like I said, even the major part of the cleanup, which is ongoing right now, which has to do with the heavy machinery part, that part is slowly coming on because they're starting in Scottshead, coming all over, comes from Scottshead coming towards Soufriere. So they engage trucks and the heavy machinery that will, and then you have guys with chainsaws cutting the big trees and everything, make it easier for the machines to pick it up, put it in trucks and dump it in the necessary areas.
Now, I know that based on the damage caused, a lot of people are still focusing on cleaning up their own surroundings. Do you expect to see more community efforts, like people coming out together to help clear the debris, as you mentioned, that will have been, you know, mentioned the trucks are going to be doing the major cleanup. Do you expect to see the community come out in their numbers to help in the cleanup?
Well, of course, I don't think so because they're asking when are we going to clean up, or we just tell them you can't do it right now. Okay. Because what's the manpower can't move those things. So we're just waiting after when it's done that we'll come in and do the last bit of it, the sweep up and the clean up, that kind of thing.
So what message do you have to the residents of Soufriere for Community Day of Service?
Well, pretty much today and onwards, every day is a Community Day of Service now, so it's only today. But it's just that we have to keep the struggle on. It's tough. But some persons that have stuff to do at their homes will still come out and do what they have to do to see the community move on. Because we have to get back to normalcy, but it will take time. But I think persons will show up. But days when it's required, they'll show up to do what we have to do.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Jules.
You're welcome.
And this is where I've come to the end of my journey for National Day of Community Service. We heard from residents in Scottsett and Soufriere on the impact of Maria there, and of course their efforts at cleaning up their communities, as today is being seen as well as a day of cleanup based on the damage that was caused to the island by Hurricane Maria. Saying a very special thank you to my camera operator, Franklin Peter. Up next, we join Iduna Jean Baptiste and her camera operator, Frederick Francis. Stay tuned.
A major project is taking place on the Castle Comfort Highway near the Evergreen Hotel on Community Day of Service to install a Bailey Bridge in the area. As a result, the Newtown to Loubier Highway will remain closed for the next few days to facilitate that project. Traffic as a result has been diverted into Fort Neef. With me is Richard Harrington. He's the project supervisor.
This is the second bridge of a 9-bridge project that the government has hired us to perform. What we're doing is widening and deepening the bridge itself, reinforcing the walls, and then installing the bridge to complete the project.
What sort of dynamics have you had to work with doing this project?
Well, we've got, in essence, of 2 hurricanes worth of debris. Almost 20 feet down into the river we're digging to clear out the original space that was there. So it's not just the bridge building, but it's actually the clearance of the actual walls underneath. So lots of distractions with that. We have a lot of fiber optic wires we're having to deal with. We have high power, high PSI water lines. And then we have a sewer line that was already broken from Maria, and we're trying to clean all that out so that it flows freely underneath. And we removed the concrete that was already crushed under the bridge. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But on a 5-day project, maybe 3 or 4 are spent cleaning and preparing the walls, and 1 or 2 will be spent actually building the bridge. So it's a very complicated project.
I noticed the fiber belonging to the telecommunications company. Does that delay your project in any way?
It does, in that we have to work with them, and we allow them to come in and work, and we use our equipment to help them locate the cables. Most were destroyed, but some were not, and so you have to track them all and find them all. It's very delicate. It's a very, very delicate process to not break the existing wires. And we've been very good at it, and so we're pulling them out of the ground, we're elevating them, and once we install the bridge, we will reinstall them on the bridge, so they'll be free from the water or any debris that come through, and maybe in the future they'll route them higher on the poles, but it's a good emergency fix for it.
What's the timeline to complete the project?
Well, we started on Thursday, and I've estimated anywhere from 4 to 6 days, so I'm hoping by Sunday night or Monday morning we should have traffic flowing, if not both lanes, at least one, and by Monday afternoon, both lanes. So my goal is to have Monday morning traffic flowing on this, get the signs down, get people moving. Even at 1, it's like it was before, but within a few hours we'll get the other ramp down, and by Monday noonish, I'm hoping we'll have both lanes up and flowing, if not sooner.
And the Bailey Bridge, as you were telling me off the record, it came from St. Lucia.
Yes, we had a number of bridge projects going there, and when the hurricane hit, the ministry contacted us. We did the West Bridge, so they know us well, and we do Bailey Bridges all over the world. And so we had the nearest supplies right there. We immediately shipped everything here, and no contracts, and just get it here, get the roads up, and that's what we've been doing for the last month. We've been mobilizing, clearing the port. We helped clear the port because it was destroyed as well. So every step of the way has been a kind of a small hurdle to get to these bridges. So it's nice to actually build the bridges.
Where do you go from here?
Well, from here, the next project will be Botica, and then I believe after that we're looking at Tabari River and possibly East Loblac, depending on what is more critical, and the government usually gives us their priorities of what they want next. And then later down the road we'll be doing White River, Geneva, and some other bigger earthworks where you're building a lot of concrete abutments. So it's not just the bridge, there's a lot of concrete and earthwork that goes on after. So our rush is to get the bridges up, and then once the traffic's flowing, we can always come back and finish the concrete work, so it's not an inconvenience for the public.
The first project at Loubier, how long did that take you to complete?
That took about approximately 4 days to get from start to finish to get it up and erected and driving over. So it opened yesterday morning after just under 4 days, so we were pretty pleased with that, and it is a very sturdy bridge. These are 30 to 40 year bridges. We say temporary, But, you know, in reality, it's really many, many decades that will last and will allow passage of debris and stormwater. So that's what we're looking for in all these. Not just the bridge, but the widening of the expanse so that it will last longer.
These projects will be done in communities that were devastated during Hurricane Maria. Idona John Baptist reporting for Channel 5 News.